All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Reyes Reflection Podcast for yet another fantastic episode. I don't know how I've been so lucky to get these guests on and agree to come on, but I have a great one today. You may know her as Miss 1000. You may not know that she's an entrepreneur, a three-time MVP, a personal trainer, coach, philanthropist, and a 2016 Lowell Catholic Hall of Fame inductee. Please welcome the stunning Miss Haley McGuire. Welcome to the show. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on.
So, how are you today?
I'm awesome. I'm very blessed.
Yeah. Another day. I always heard another day above the ground is a good day. So there we
Exactly.
go.
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
So let's get into it. So obviously we talked about a lot of in my introduction, I talked a lot about who you are and stuff like that. So I want to start with this though. Your last name's McGuire. Did you ever get teased as Lizzie McGuire back in the day?
I did, and you know what I told them? They named Lizzie McGuire after me because I was born first. So what's up now?
Were you really?
hmm
Oh wow.
I'm not really sure of Hillary Duff's age, but on the show, Lizzie McGuire, she played a 13-year-old,
Yeah.
and I was like 15 at the time. So yeah, they named her after me
Yeah. So you've heard that before.
all the time.
Yeah. So let's start with that. Some of your upbringing in Lowell, right? Lowell, Massachusetts. Is that where you were born and raised?
Born and raised, and I rep Lowell to the fullest. I love Lowell. I was born and raised in Lowell. I went to school in Lowell all my life. And even when I was about 16, my parents bought a house in Tingsboro and tried to move out to Tingsboro, but I wasn't having it. That was right around the time I got my license, and I was in Lowell as much as possible. So definitely, obviously, I went to school at Lowell Catholic, where I scored the 1,000 points. Thank you for calling me Miss 1000. I like that nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lowell's been awesome to me. I love Lowell.
So where'd you go to middle school in Lowell?
St. Margaret's, which is actually now Lowell Catholic Elementary School,
Oh, so you just went right next door.
right next door. I literally went to school on the same street my entire life.
Oh
The
wow.
preschool was like down the street across from St. Margaret's Church. Then I moved up to St. Margaret's School and then went right next door to Lowell Catholic. So
Was it was called Lowell Catholic? It wasn't Keith's Academy?
I'm not that old now. Come on. No, it was Lowell Catholic.
No, that's awesome. So, when did you start to love basketball? So, well, you missed 1,000 points. You scored 1,000 in high school, and you played college basketball. So, we'll get into all that. But when did you start to love basketball?
It's funny because I was a swimmer at the YMCA. I don't know how I got into swimming. I was just watching it one day from the window and was like, cool, I want to do that. And I was actually a very natural swimmer. So I was going to the YMCA every day for these 2 3 hour practices, long practices for swim teams. And as I would be waiting for my ride, I would go in the gym at the YMCA and just watch the guys play pickup back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was an athlete at a very young age. So I obviously like played basketball in my driveway and stuff like this. But I think I fell in love with the game of basketball watching these pickup games, like just so intense. All the guys are so passionate about it. And after seeing me there a few weeks, for like 15, 20 minutes at a time, just watching the games back and forth, I'm just young. And one of the guys were like, do you play basketball? Like, they're probably like, why are you in here stalking us every day? And I was just like, well, I know how to play, but I never played for a team. And they asked me if I want to like jump in one of the games one day. And so I slowly, meeting them, I learned how to play basketball little by little. One person would teach me some stuff about dribbling, another person would teach me how to shoot. And they slowly became very, very close friends. And they really taught me the game of basketball. So I really tell people basketball, I fell in love with basketball, but kind of like street basketball.
Yeah.
And you could tell when I ended up going to high school, it was kind of an adjustment for me because a lot of the girls played on like AAU teams and they knew textbook basketball and I knew street basketball. And I was an athlete, so I made it work. But if you watch like films from my games and stuff like that, if I could go back now and tell younger self, I'd be like, this is all extra stuff. Like, cut the and one stuff and just get to the basket, do what you got to do. So I learned in a very different way than most 12-year-old girls, but I learned that was what was important.
So
So
you were 12 when you first started watching it and really kind of like you were always around it, but you were 12 when you really were like, I kind of want to play.
I want to say I was 12 when I really like joined leagues and stuff because I was swimming 8, 9, 10 years old. And I remember being in there watching and maybe shooting around a little. And I really started meeting people when I was like 10, 11. But it was 12 years old when I really like can say I fell in love with basketball. Yeah.
You're right. There is a difference between like street basketball and, and because there's brothers and sisters who are just balling out there, but they don't know the like you said, the textbooks, the fundamentals of it, but
Oh, yeah.
they've got great skill.
Oh, yeah. In high school, it was a little bit of adjustment. But when we get into me playing college basketball, that's when it was like shell shock. Like it is two different worlds, street ball and college ball, two different worlds.
Yeah, yeah. And you found yourself right in the middle trying to adjust to it. Yeah.
Yes.
So your high school career, were you a starter freshman? Varsity freshman?
Yes, sir.
Really? Okay, starting point.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. All right, how was that for you?
Needless to say, I caused a little rift on the team because here I am, a freshman coming in, and obviously I'm a competitor, so I'm fighting for a starting spot that obviously a senior had. So imagine a freshman coming in starting, that's going to cause some type of little issue on the team. So it wasn't that fun when I first joined because I was kind of outcasted because I was taking someone's spot as a freshman. And but that's just that's the world of basketball. You got to fight for a spot. So,
Yeah.
but we ended up. I loved my team. We ended up after first couple months, had to work out some issues on the team. But after that, it was great. I love my girls at Low Catholic. Yes.
Do you still stay in touch with a lot of them?
Um, Honestly, like social media type stuff here and there, but not. I can't honestly say I've ever met up with them afterwards and had lunch or anything. No, but social media keeps you in touch with a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. That's the beauty of it. When it's used like that,
Right,
there's
right,
some
right.
beauty parts for it. Yeah. So you jump in freshman, which that's tough alone. You're 13, 14 years old. You're already vying for and fighting for spots. So when did you start to kind of be like, damn, I'm pretty good actually. Like, like here, because there has to be a point in time in which you were like, okay, I'm actually good. And it's not just, me in my own head. Because I don't care what school you go to. If you're a freshman and you're a starting point guard, that's a big deal. I don't care D1, D2. I don't care. So
Well, thank you.
yeah. So when did you start to kind of be like, I might be pretty good at this?
Well, it was between Lowell High and Lowell Catholic, and after talking to some people, they're like, Lowell High, you got politics, one, but two, it's a bigger school, so you're gonna have a lot more people fighting for that same spot. And I didn't really care so much about that, but my parents did want me to go to a Catholic school, so after talking to some mentors and some of the guys that taught me how to play basketball right at the YMCA, some of my mentors, they told me, if you're good, you'll get noticed anywhere. Don't worry about it. You go, you play your game. So I went into Low Catholic with the mind frame, every little cocky teenager has their, especially a ball player. When you're a ball player and you learn street ball, you got to imagine I went in with the mind frame like, I could take anyone. I don't care how young I am. I don't care this or that. And that was just a little arrogant mindset I had, but that's the fire that a lot of competitors need to go in with that mindset. Obviously as I'm older and I know more stuff, I know being humble is better, but when you're 13, 14 years old, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I went in scared. No, I was going in there with the mind frame. I'm starting, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and that was my goal. And luckily I achieved it and I worked hard enough to get that spot. But yeah, I noticed that I was pretty advanced when the game started, really, right? Because if you can imagine, I'm playing pickup with grown men at the park and stuff every day of my life.
Yeah.
And other girls, especially 13, 14-year-old girls, they might go to basketball practice, go to the games. They might love basketball, but then they go home and I don't know what normal 13, 14-year-old girls do. Go hang out with their friends.
Yeah.
I went to the projects to go hoop with a bunch of 20-year-olds. So our work ethic, it was just instilled in me, competition, competition, competition. Like I'm going up against a 20-year-old man practicing, and then I'd go play in the games at Lowell Catholic, and that's when I knew I was more advanced, but not because of anything natural talent. It was pure hard work. Every single day I was hooping with grown men. That was expected, you know. I was going to be at a different level, and that's the advice I give people now. You want to get better at basketball? Play basketball. All the drills in the world will help you, all the fundamentals and knowing where to go. But play basketball with people that are better than you. You will get better.
For sure. And I think you kind of touched on a really important topic because you said, I always just balled, I always just hooped, and it didn't matter where and or who. And you're right. There is a certain swagger that people who, kind of play on the streets, they kind of have. It's like,
Mhm.
I don't really care who you are. I'm just going to ball. If I lose, I lose. Like,
Facts.
yeah. What do I got to lose? A pickup game? I might be pissed about it, but then we run it back, like, yeah.
And that's the exact mind frame I had. And I do think a lot of people, like I said, there was a little rift when I first got to the team. I think a lot of people took that as like arrogance and cockiness when it wasn't that I was trying to be cocky or trying to be arrogant. It was that swag that you said I naturally picked up from playing street ball, and I went in there with that mind frame. I didn't think I was better than anybody, like on a better person. I'm better than you. It was just that swag that you have when you play street ball. And I think as they got to know, that's just how I was raised, and the people who taught me how to play basketball would actually come to the games at Lowell Catholic. So I think after a while, people on the Lowell Catholic team were seeing who I was talking to after the games and who was there to support me. And they realized, like, oh, that's how she learned how to play ball. I'm not used to playing AAU. I'm not used to playing with other girls my age. I'm used to going up against grown men. So I'm going to talk shit.
Yeah. And you're at a different age, too, because in this day and age, when people are done school, they're just going on, the Twitters and the Instagrams and the TikToks.
Exactly.
Whereas we didn't have that growing up. So we would literally go to parks. I had a guest on not too long ago, and we were talking about just like, because I played D3 ball, and I would say, like, no, I would always constantly be trying to find new games. I'd be taking my bike, going to somewhere else. If this court was dry, I'd go somewhere else. That's just, I wanted that to play all the time. And that's, yeah.
Listen, not only did I want to play all the time, those same guys that were at the YMCA playing pickup, when I wasn't playing pickup with them, they were involved with men's leagues in like Derry, New Hampshire. And I would be begging if I was at the court, oh no, we're leaving. We're going to a game in Derry. Can I come with you? Can I come with you? I'm like 13, 14 years old here. And these are grown men. They're like, we're friends from the park, but where do you draw the line between, yeah, you can
Yeah.
get in my car and I could take you to New Hampshire. I end up having to tell my mom, please, I've been with these guys for years. My parents knew them all of that, playing with them every day. Let me go with them to the game. Let me go with them to the game. So not even just to play, I'd be sitting on the bench, dribbling a basketball, just watching them play basketball. So if I wasn't playing, I was studying the game 24/7 with a basketball in my hand, dribbling. And eventually they had their shirt sponsored that said XL, the Lowell crew, I think their team name was. They got me a little jersey that said #1 biggest fan on the back, because I would just sit on the bench and watch every whatever, I think it was Monday nights, Tuesday nights, all night, just watching them play 2 3 games. And so if I wasn't playing, I was watching, and that generally just instills like a fire in you, like you're a competitor. So of course, once I got to play with girls my own age, it was game over.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was that, like you said, optically, people were probably like, whoa, whoa. But for you, it was more like, this is like a mentorship, big brother type of role. And that's why they're looking out for me. They want me to succeed. They see me
Listen,
hooping. Yeah.
if you can picture this, a team full of 20 plus 20, 20, 21, 23, there was even 30 year olds on the team, all black and Spanish guys. And then this little white girl who's no more than 13 years old sitting on the bench watching. They could not figure out, is this someone's kid? Like who is she with? And they would always see me come in with the Lowell crew. That's what the team name was. And then eventually everyone else at the men's leagues arenas would be like, oh, that's Haley.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just loves that team. She just follows them around and watches the game. And so it was really inspiring to turn around and be playing my games at Lowell Catholic, to have some of those guys that played in those men's leagues to be in the stands cheering for me, because it was just came full circle.
And then at Lowell Catholic, the people are like, who the hell are those guys? Like the roles switched. Like
Exactly.
So we obviously talked about your dominance at LC, and which you scored 1,000 points. as a point guard though, you're not really looking to score as much. So when did you shift from, hey, I'm gonna not get these people involved, or how was that balance for you? I'm gonna get these people involved, but I also got to get mine, type of deal. So how did you accrue all those points and stuff like that?
Well, coming in as a point guard, especially a freshman, right, my mind frame was, let me just get the ball around, give people the ball, open up the floor, be a leader. And I believe it was the head coach, Coach Varnum, who saw me play my first game and said, I have never seen a point guard at such a young age have such poise coming up and down the court. I just stayed calm. But again, that was from playing with grown men. That's a really intense game when you're playing with a bunch of men. So it was very easy to stay calm and lead the floor. And as you mentioned, Low Catholic is a different level of basketball. So you're not going to find the same type of game at Lowell Catholic that you would at Lowell High or Central Catholic. You know what I mean? An intense game. So I think that once I realized we didn't have a roster full of scorers, you know what I mean, that I stepped into the role that was needed during that season. And fortunately for me, it was scoring points. So I did the best I could. I tried to, I always wanted to keep my assist records up there too. I would love to pass the ball and do that, but I think just after a while you get to know like who can help you and who should get the ball and who you could throw those hard passes to and when you should just take it yourself. And I just got that knowledge from being on the team and filled my role as needed.
The true definition of a point guard. You analyze the whole thing. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. So 3-time MVP. That was in high school, right? So was it sophomore, junior, senior year?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. What is that? How I've never been that good. So what does that entail? So when you're an MVP, do you get like a banquet, an award? Like how does that work?
Yeah, you actually it's at the banquet that they award you with the
So like the end of the season type of banquet? Yep.
Yep, I think there's like 3 different awards they give out. It's something like the coaches award, most improved, and then MVP. And yep, I got MVP
3 times.
3
Wow.
times.
Was that your coach that was that your coach's decision, or was that like a conference decision by your all the schools that you play? Like sometimes there's like those type of awards. Was it that type of deal?
I believe that people can nominate you.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I believe it's the coaching staff's position.
Okay.
They all get together, all the coaches, and decide.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you have a very, very successful high school career, which then you want to translate that to college. So how was the college process for you? Were you recruited? Were you, obviously you said LC, you didn't get as much exposure, or I shouldn't say that. You get different type of exposure at smaller schools. So how was that for you?
Well, I definitely think you weren't wrong to say a lot of exposure either, because the truth is that when you're playing at a higher level, you don't necessarily need to be recruited. What happens is you might be playing, if I'm playing your team and they know you're really good, a scout could be there to watch you and just accidentally see me. So when you're playing at a higher level, people are coming for all different people, and if you have a great game, you're noticed, right?
Yeah.
So when you're playing at the level that I was playing at with Lowell Catholic, which everyone knows is not up there with the Lowell Highs and the Central Catholics, of course you're not going to get exposure, and unless you're a standout. And so I didn't get as many offers or scouts showing up to my game as maybe I would if I was playing at a different level. Who knows? But Kathy O'Neill did come to a game from UMass Lowell, and this is a lesson learned for anybody out there my age when I was going through this, because I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life at that moment. Kathy O'Neill came to a game, and she talked to me after the game. She said, that was a great game. You have a lot of things you need to work on. Again, coming from a street ball mentality to playing organized basketball. So just to give you an example, I'm bringing the ball down the court, and instead of just crossing someone and driving to the hoop, I'm crossing someone, pulling it back, doing it between my legs, doing all this extra stuff that wasn't needed. But it's just the game I learned.
Yeah.
And it just came natural. So, and Coach Varnum was on me for that too. Don't be doing that. Just go to the basket, blah, blah, blah. So I got reprimanded for that for sure, but she pulled me aside, and I was in awe that Kathy O'Neill from UMass Lowell was there to see me, and she pulled me aside and said, there's a lot of, I'm not going to lie to you, there's a lot of stuff you have to work on, but you are a great player, and I would like to offer you an official overnight. And that's the an official overnight is the we plan on giving you a scholarship. We want to come check. We want you to come see the school. So I was ecstatic about that, but at the same time, she mentioned me redshirting if I came to the school. So she offered me the overnight, but then told me that she was going to redshirt me if I came to the school. And again, with that cocky mindset of a high school player, I shouldn't have had. But again, how I learned how to play basketball, I'm thinking, oh no, red shirt. So that means practice and not play. No, I don't think so. Blah blah blah. Thinking I was so good, so great. No, nobody's gonna redshirt me. Well, I'll tell you right now, I should have just took the deal because I ended up going to UMass Boston first. I turned down UMass Lowell. I went to UMass Boston, and I said, no, I'm gonna go where I'm gonna play. I'm not going to redshirt. I thought I was just this high and almighty. And it was a mistake because I went to UMass Boston and it wasn't the type of basketball I wanted to play at. People at UMass Boston were getting playing time because they were seniors, playing time because their parents were in the stands that day. So it wasn't run as it should have been. It wasn't run the type of basketball I wanted to play. Like I wanted to play competitive basketball. So with that being said, I played a year there, and I said, no, I want to go back to UMass Lowell. I don't care. I'll redshirt. I want to talk to Kathy O'Neill. Turns out that season, she was let go from the program, and there was a new coach in town, Sarah Bain. And I was like, oh, Sarah Bain's never seen me play. Sarah Bain don't know anything about me. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, so I went, I had a meeting with Sarah Bain. I knew some of the girls on the team, so they vouched for me and was like, she could play. So I got a meeting with her. I sat down with her and I told her the whole situation. I told her Kathy O'Neill was interested in me. She was, but she wanted to redshirt me. And, she's looking at me like, I'm brand new to this program. I'm not going to take your word for it and just
Yeah.
hand you a scholarship. And here I am, no bigger than 5'3". I'm an undersized point guard already. So I was just not in a good position to get set from that point on. But she took me in her office. We had a long talk, and she said, I'm gonna let you play pickup today with the girls, basically a walk-on tryout, right? And I said, okay, whatever you can do. So I went out there and did my thing, and she pulled me in the office afterwards and said, um, I walked into a situation where all the scholarships were already handed out. I already have a full roster. Like it's already too full on the team. She said, but there's no denying that. I think she said, there's no denying that you're top, I don't know the exact number, but let's say top 20 at UMass.
Hmm.
All the students that go to UMass, and I need those top 20 players on my roster. So I am going to let you be on the team. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
thank God. So that's all I needed was a shot, and she let me play. And UMass Lowell is where I'm telling you I was shell shocked. Like this was a whole different level of basketball. Street ball, I don't care how good you are. That does not work playing college basketball against women, college women. It just doesn't. No, it's not even close. I had to learn so much, and then I understood why Kathy O'Neill was trying to redshirt me the year because I needed to learn so much. And honestly, that year at UMass Lowell with Sarah Bain helped me so well. Like it transformed. It took me up. It accelerated my game to I can't even explain to you. I'm very grateful for that time at UMass Lowell because it changed me from I still got my street ball swag, don't get me wrong, but my level of IQ in basketball went up dramatically working with that team. Mm-hmm.
So now, looking back on it many years later, you can kind of see that she wanted to have you redshirted so that way you could understand the game better and learn the game better. Not,
Yes.
it wasn't that you were good.
Yeah, she wanted me to learn that textbook style
Yeah.
of pick and rolls and screen and rolls and body placement and where you should be without the ball and this and that. And I should have took the opportunity when I had because redshirting is nothing but an extra year of knowledge. And that was just it would have benefited me. But I let my attitude take over there, and that's something that I tell young kids now that I'm talking to, like, don't let the pride take over because you can lose good opportunities with that.
Wow. What were you studying at school in school?
UMass Lowell, UMass Boston, I was studying exercise science. I wanted
Okay.
to go into the personal training field, and it was actually when I joined the team at UMass Lowell that the athletic advisors advised me against that program because it's such extensive hours of homework and stuff. And anybody who knows college basketball, they really just care about their athletes making practice and making games. They don't really care about making your career path, you know, good. They're worrying about you being at practice.
Right.
So
So
I ended up switching out of that and just going with an easy program like criminal justice, but it's not what I wanted. I just did it basically to play basketball and be able to be at practice in the games.
yeah, I've heard something that said that's why you see all student athletes are communication majors. Just I saw that
Actually,
one time.
this is why I'm writing a book right now for young adults, because I think it's so important for young athletes to know when you go. I don't care how passionate you are about basketball. Everyone who goes to college for basketball thinks that they're going to be in the WNBA and the NBA, and that's fine to have that dream. But I did not understand when my parents would tell me, just make sure you think about what you want to be when you grow up, just if it's not basketball. And I'm thinking in my head, they're crazy. What are they talking about? I'm going to the WNBA. I don't need to do this homework. But really, no, I'm writing in this book for young adults to know I had that same thought process and find something that you love, because if it just so happens that basketball doesn't work out, you want to be set in your way to get to where you want to go. I just joined any program, so I'm off doing classes over here. And then when basketball didn't I didn't end up in the WNBA, my career path now is way over there and I had a longer route to get to it. And luckily I did it anyway, but that's why I'm writing this book, because I want kids to know that there's a shorter path if you do it the right way the first time.
That's impressive. I did not know you were writing a book. That's breaking news to me. On the Reyes
Yes,
Reflection, breaking
it's
news. Haley
it's
McGuire
very
is writing a book.
it's very early on, so it's not even I hate even explaining it to people, because then people are like, "Well, when is it coming out?" And the process, I've never written a book before, so the process of
Right.
writing a book from what I've researched is a long process. So, it's in the early stages, but it will definitely be out soon.
It's extensive. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's. Did you finish your degree?
At UMass Lowell, I did not.
Okay.
I ended up, because of some family issues, dropping out of school and having to work 2 jobs, and, it ended up, at the time, it was, like, depressing, and I wasn't happy about it, but in all honesty, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, and I feel like I'm on the exact path I'm supposed to be, so I feel like it had to happen that way. So I ended up, getting re-enrolled in school, in online school, after I made the move to Los Angeles, and, I took some classes at Santa Monica College, and that's when I realized psychology was the path I was gonna take,
Hmm.
and I finished with my degree at Southern New Hampshire University online.
There we go. There you go. It's never too late.
Right, exactly.
Kudos. So let's transition into this. So you said you moved out to LA. When did the voyage of your entrepreneurship kind of transition?
So I didn't move out to LA with dreams of having a company or being an entrepreneur or being some singer or anything like that, like a lot of people move out to LA for. My brother is actually a music manager in LA since he was 18. He's now 33. So he's been out in LA a long time. And the family issues that I told you I was going through when I came out of UMass Lowell was actually a divorce between my parents. And my mom decided she wanted to move to LA to be closer to my brother. And she said, I'm going to start a new life out there. Like, you should come with me, blah, blah, blah. And I just couldn't. I'm so Boston to the core. I could not picture moving to Los Angeles. So I said, no, you go ahead. Like, I'm all set. I'm staying here. So she went off. And my mom's like my best friend. If anybody knows me, they know my mom. And when she went to LA, that was a hard part for me. But I said, no, I don't feel that I want to move. Like, there's nothing out there for me, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward 6, 8 months. Remember, I told you everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
I was playing in a competitive flag football league, and I actually tore my ACL, meniscus, and MCL all in the same move. And I end up having surgery, and it popped in my head. I'm like, I need my mom. You know, when you get sick, you need your mom.
Yep. Yeah.
So I got hurt and I was like, oh, I need my mom. And she kind of talked me into it too, because she all I cared about was being back, being ready to play basketball. I went through a little bit of identity crisis when I got hurt because it was like all I knew was basketball. Whether I was playing basketball, watching basketball, talking about basketball, doing basketball stuff for work. At the time I was an athletic director of the YMCA. I was running basketball clinics for kids. Everything in my life surrounded basketball. So when I got hurt, I was laying in bed. I didn't even know who I was if I couldn't say I was a basketball player. I did not know who Haley McGuire was without a basketball in my hand. It was sad. I went into a little bit of a depression, and of course, not having my mom there made it worse. And she ended up calling me from LA and talked me into it because she said, "You want to get back, right? You want to get back to playing?" And I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "There's pools out here. It's warm weather. You can come. You can start the recovery process today." And she just was talking me into moving out there. So I finally said, fine, I'll go out there just to recover and then I'm coming back. And she's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. So I moved out there. I got I rented a little room out there and I started the recovery process. I actually rehabbed myself.
Wow.
Yeah, because at the time, moving to California, I had horrible insurance.
Yeah.
So the physical therapist they were trying to send me to, there was like a 6-month waiting list to get on, and I couldn't wait that long. I was trying to be healed
Right.
tomorrow. If I wait 6 months, I'll walk different. Like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to be playing. And the doctors try to give me the speeches like you're not gonna ever play the same. So just forget that idea. Just take your time and recover and blah blah blah. And I just wasn't taking that for an answer. So I paid out of pocket for 2 sessions just to pick their brains about what I should be doing. And then I used my own personal training knowledge that I have about the muscles and I did my own thing. And I recovered like Superwoman, the doctor said.
Wow. Yeah. So how long is that healing process? 9 months or something like that?
They say it's like between a year and a year and a half. But by the time I was at like the 5, 6 month mark, he was like, who are you going to see for a physical therapist? Like, you are healing like Superwoman. I don't know if he was just telling me that because he knew I was like so hell bent on getting back to play basketball. I
Yeah.
think he might have been like, okay, you're recovering good, so just keep it going, because he knew the first doctor I saw in Massachusetts before I moved to LA, he's dealt with sports injuries with me before, and I had a broken toe before that he told me to stay off for 6 weeks, and I said, yeah, yeah, okay, and went right back to playing. That same doctor put a walking cast on me for an ankle, and I was playing pickup with a walking cast at the YMCA. I couldn't stay off of it. So I think he knew, like, if I don't tell her that she's on a road to recovery, she might just say F it and keep playing. So he told me I was recovering like Superwoman. And even though I moved to Los Angeles, I still went and saw my doctor in Massachusetts because Dr. Wu, he's a great sports doctor, orthopedic doctor. And
Shout out Dr. Wu.
hell yeah. And I wanted to make sure it was him that I stayed in touch with. And he's the one who said that, I was fully healed. And I would send him pictures of like the scar I had after the surgery. Like, is this normal? Is this healing right? So he walked me through that recovery process. And remember, I told you after I healed, I was going to go back to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Well, doors started opening up left and right. Like, literally 4 months into being in LA, I got recruited to play for the Basketball Beauties League, which is like a little semi-pro team out in LA. I got pulled in to do a movie for Nick Cannon where I play a basketball player in the movie She Ball.
Wow.
Go
Movie
check it out.
credits.
It's in Redbox right now.
What's it called?
She Ball.
She-Ball. All
Yep,
right.
it's in Redbox right now, I believe, or like on Hulu and Amazon. And
I'm definitely watching it.
I
I'm recovering from a knee surgery myself. So
okay.
I have plenty of time. So
So it was funny because when I was on set, I wasn't fully recovered yet. I told you this just happened when I
wow.
was literally 4 or 5 months out in LA. Wasn't fully recovered yet, and the Basketball Beauties League, which I play for, is the one who pulled me in. They said Nick Cannon reached out, and we need some girls from the Basketball Beauties League to come do this movie. And I said, well, obviously that's a great opportunity, but I'm not fully recovered, and I'm supposed to be playing in these scenes. And he told me, don't worry, you're just going to be in the background. We're not going to use you too much. I got to set, and Nick Cannon said, I need her. And he points to me, and I'm like, me? Why? Turns out it was because I was the only white girl on set, and we're shooting in the middle of Compton, California here. I'm the only white girl on set, and he said, "We need you because this scene is going to be this girl crossing over a white girl." And, oh no, 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 no! Pick someone else.
Oh my
I said,
goodness.
I'm not going to get crossed on camera. I said, "You don't know where I come from.
Yeah.
Those guys that taught me how to play basketball, they will never let me live it down. I'm sorry, I can't. You need to choose someone else." He's like, "No, we need you." So I'm using the excuse, "No, no, I'm still hurt. I can't play because I wasn't trying to get crossed on camera.
Yeah.
Sorry." And if you see the movie, I don't want to give too much away, but if you see the movie, you'll see why they wanted a white girl, because the white girl, the main character of the movie is a white girl. And she's
Okay.
trying to get in this hood league or whatever. You'll see it. So he kind of explained it to me. The scene was going to be the other star of the movie crossing up a white girl to kind of show it, like, yeah, I did her like that. I'll do the same thing to you, blah, blah, blah. You'll see the movie. I don't want to give too much away.
That's really cool. So I got to ask you, because that's just that's a really cool story. What's worse, getting dunked on in a movie or crossed up?
I think, see, for me, especially only being 5'3", at least if I've gotten dunked on before playing
Yeah.
pickup.
Yeah.
And if I get dunked on, I'm just looking around like, he was supposed to do that. I'm 5'3".
Yeah.
But getting crossed, no.
That's something you were never going to live down.
No, and I told Nick Cannon, I don't know how to naturally get crossed. Like, I'm not gonna just naturally fall to the ground and get crossed. I'm not doing it. And I ended up doing it for him and being a good sport, but it ended up not making the cut anyway. So it probably didn't look real enough because it didn't make the movie.
Yeah.
But I do have some good scenes in the movie. It's not like I have any speaking roles, so it's not like some huge deal. But I'm in enough scenes where, like, we went to see it at the movie theater and we're like, oh my God, there I am, there I am, there I am. And then my name was in the credit. So check it out.
Movie credits. Look at that. I didn't know that. Learn something new. You learned something new.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. I'm honestly speechless right now. I didn't expect that.
Chris Brown's in that movie. Faison Love, Nick Cannon, Birdman.
Did you get to meet all of them?
Yeah, I was right on set with all of them.
You're living the dream.
DC Youngfly, Hitman Holla.
So all the Wild and Out people. Yeah, those are wild.
Rosa Acosta, she's in it. I was like, I'm very honored to have been able to do that movie. That was definitely a dream come true.
Yeah, like that's right up my alley. Yeah.
I told you I didn't move to LA to be a singer or an actress, but I'll tell you right now, if put me in a movie where I could play basketball, I was right in my element.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, honestly, like I said, I'm speechless. So, you recovered. You get crossed up in a movie that didn't make the cut because you're too good of a defender. So now you were an entrepreneur out there. Did you start, because you started your own personal training business out there, right?
Yeah. So basically, this is how the business started. I have one leg, right? My knee is still in recovery, and I'm as much as I'm a hooper, I'm all about making money too. Like, I was going crazy sitting in the house doing nothing, and I said, like, I need to find a job that I can do with one leg. Like, what am I going to do? Sit in an office all day? Like, all I know how to do is play basketball. Because you got to imagine, at this point in my life, I didn't have a degree yet, right?
Right.
So I didn't have a degree. I barely got 2 working legs, and all I know how to do is play basketball. So I'm like, what can I do? So I'm typing in Indeed, my experience, and everything's basketball, everything's athletics. And I was looking for short hours, like maybe part-time or per diem or anything. Pops up basketball coach for after school program. So I go meet up with the lady. She's like, basically, I have contracts with schools where after school there'll be like a basketball program at this school, basketball clinic. Sometimes it's flag football, sometimes it's whatever. But she said, I know if your expertise is in basketball, we'll use you for the basketball classes. So and I was like, okay, I'll do that, because it's 1-2 hours at a time, and I could sit in a chair if I need to with my leg up, and kind of just instruct that way. Okay, I'll do that. It was good at, like $50 an hour or something like that. And I'm like, I could do that. That's even if I work 2 hours a day, it's a quick $100. At least it's better than nothing. So I went and did that. And through working with those kids in Beverly Hills, they ended up liking my personality and going home and telling their parents, like, I have a great basketball coach. Like, I want to do private lessons with her. And so I said, yeah, I'll offer private lessons, and I just kept the same rate at first as what I would make doing the after school program. And At first I said to them, "I don't have a gym though to work out of." "Oh, don't worry. I have a full court in my backyard." I'm like, "What?"
You're out in LA. Yeah, you're out in
I didn't
Cali.
know. Again, I'm from the East Coast, so I'm
Yeah.
like, "Full court?" It turns out just about everyone in Beverly Hills, if they don't have a half court with fiberglass rims, backboards, fiberglass backboards, they have a full court, lights, everything. I was like, "Oh man." So that just the first client I went to, it just sparked in my head. I'm like, "Oh, I'm running it all the way up with this."
Yeah, because
So
now you don't have to pay like fees of these places either. You can just
yeah,
go to this person's
exactly.
house and hoop and yeah.
Exactly. So it was a little bit of adjustment for me at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, because the kids in Boston and Lowell are so different than the kids in Beverly Hills. So to give you an example, when I'm doing little clinics at the YMCA in Lowell, the kids don't have money like that for private lessons. So as I'm
Yeah.
instructing and telling them something about basketball, the kids in Lowell are hanging on to my every word, listening very intently. They know they're grateful for this help, and they don't know the next time they're going to get that type of private training, you know? These kids in Beverly Hills, it's like they don't even want to play basketball because they love the game. They like are playing basketball because their parents want them off the iPad and they want them
Yeah.
to get outside. They're so privileged that it ain't a thing to have a private basketball coach come to the house. I mean, I had problems like one girl told me, "I work for you. I mean, you work for me, Coach Haley, and today I want to braid your hair. I don't want to play basketball." I said, "Well, I'm not a damn Barbie doll, so I'm out." And I told the parents, like, "I don't know how the people in here in LA do it, but I no, you called me for a service, and that's what I would like to do. I'm not here to babysit." I had to leave a few houses like that in the beginning to let people know, there's probably people in LA, they'll do whatever for money. That's not me. I'm here because I love the game and I want to train basketball. And I had to work out some of those kinks, but now my client list are amazing kids who, they might not be the most advanced players or someone who have dreams to go to the NBA, but they know how I run my practices and they enjoy it, whether it's an hour or of a private lesson or a group session of 8 kids, 8 friends that get together. I show them what East Coast basketball is like, and we don't play no games.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. That's a pretty cool background. So,
So it's just grown and grown and grown, and I don't do any marketing on social media or anything. It's literally all word of mouth in Los Angeles.
and that's honestly sometimes that's the best type of business because it's
Mhm.
like if a parent talks to another parent and then they talk to another parent, it's like, well, what's the buzz? What's this? And honestly, that can sometimes go more viral than social media.
And from what I heard, a lot of the word of the mouth is it's not because I end up, finding out, okay, I'm charging way too small out here because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a lot. I'm thinking $50 an hour. No, that is like parents out there pay that for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I went a little more up with my prices, and the parents' word of mouth was more so not about price or anything. It's more about, from what I've been told, the parents love me because I'm strict with the kids, and you don't find that in LA. In LA, they're there to make the money. So it's like, oh, you don't want to play basketball? Okay, what do you want to do? No, I will straight up tell their kids, nope, we're here to play basketball, and if you're not doing what I'm asking you to do, you'll be running. And that's so different from the type of parenting out there. They love the I just have them like militant, and I love the kids. The kids that can handle those type of workouts, those are my regulars, and I see them all the time, and the parents are like, "I love how
Yeah.
they fall in line right when they see you because they're not used to it." And that's what's really been working for me out there. So
Yeah. You brought some structure and some,
structure, that's the word. Yep.
wow. Really cool. So you're giving back to the community in your own way. You're kind of being that role and that you've reversed roles from the first time that you would watch people play basketball and now you get to kind of help that younger generation.
And those same guys that taught me how to play basketball, they were the ones that I went back to and spoke about when I said, I'm really having a hard time in LA. These kids aren't like kids in Boston. They don't even care about basketball. And those mentors were the ones that told me, but this is your new assignment. This is now you got to teach these kids the love of the game.
Yeah.
Whereas kids on the East Coast, Lowell or Boston or whatever, they know the love for the game and they need you. people in LA, they might have mentors and they already have good parents that are there and that will pay for them to go to basketball classes or whatever. But now you got to teach them the love of the game. And when I refocused like that, that's what I made all my sessions about. Like, okay, they might not need me like a mentor in their life, but they need me to teach them about the game of basketball and make them fall in love with it the same way I love it. So that's how I look at each session that I go into.
Wow. That's really cool. You've had a lot. So let's transition into this. You're obviously back out here. You got called. It was in the Lowell Sun. You got called for a coaching opportunity.
Yep, my head coach called me and he said I was in the middle of a lesson actually in Los Angeles, and he's like, Haley McGuire, it's Tom Barnum. And I was like, I know, coach, I already got your number stored. And he's like, this is a shot in the dark because I know you're in LA, but we just had an available paid position pop up for the varsity staff. And I know that you're back and forth a lot because I visit Mass all the time. He said, was wondering if you'd be interested. And considering we kind of skipped through it, but my time in LA inspired me to become to get into the field of psychology because of just everything, recovering from my injury and how I went into that deep depression, and I had that identity crisis, I guess you can call it. Just the resilience of it all. I was like, wow, psychology is real. So I went into that field, and I narrowed it down to sports psychology. I want to finish with, I want to go as far as I can and become a doctor of psychology with a concentration of sports psychology. And that was my goal. He didn't know that, but when I'm telling you, thank you God, because my blessings are just falling into my lap at this point. And it's like as soon as I narrowed it down to sports psychology, I got this call from Coach Tom Barnum, and he said, "Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Coach, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know where I'm going to live when I come back there. I don't know what car I'm going to drive, but I'm accepting the position because no matter what happens or if I like it, if I don't like it, it's going to look good on my resume for sports psychology in the
Yeah.
future to say I've worked with the team." So I said, "I'll take it." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right." And I go, "I'll call you in a few days to work out the logistics, like when I can get there, where I'm going to live." Yeah, I'm kind of crazy, but I took it.
Impulsively, yeah. So you brought it up, and I wanted to circle back into it. So the child psychology, you said that you kind of went into the child sports psychology. Is that what it is, or is it just psychology?
No, it's just psychology, but sports psychology is what
Okay.
I ended up focusing on. And for you to say sports child psychology is pretty interesting because right now, I'm not in my future careers, I would hope to work with professional athletes, but right now I'm getting a lot of exposure towards child psychology mixed with sports psychology because all my clients in LA are young.
Mm-hmm.
Even girls I'm working with at Low Catholic are just teenagers, they're just freshmen, sophomore, juniors. So they're still children, and it's kind of mixing child psychology and sports psychology. But the main goal is to finish with sports psychology and end up working with like professional teams. So yeah.
That's really cool, and I do see a need for it because personal experience, as I told you, I tore my knee as well and recovering from surgery. And there are times even where I'm like, I almost doubt myself. I'm like, oh, is it weak? Is it? And it is a psychological thing. And
Yep.
it made me realize the other day how impressive these athletes really are for them to go through sometimes catastrophic injury and then be able to bounce back. And obviously there are some that don't bounce back. It's unfortunate, but it made me have a different type of admiration for those that bounce back because I think of myself and I'm like, I'm having a hard time just getting up to go to the bathroom and fearing that my knee's going to give out on me type of deal.
100%. It's been years since it's 2022. I had the surgery in 2017. So it's been plenty of years for my recovery. And even though I'm fully recovered and a doctor has confirmed that, I still drive into the basket, playing pickup. I still will pull back. And that's probably what the doctor meant as far as you're never going to play the same way, that it's a mental thing.
Yep.
But I think I'm in the process of working through that. I don't care how many years it takes. I think it's always going to be a constant battle for me to like forget about the weakness I had in that knee and realize that it's strong. But if anybody can overcome that mentally, it's going to be me because of the field I'm going into. So,
Well, I can't wait to hear more about it when you get there. So, how is your season now that you jumped into coaching? How has that been?
so it's interesting that we're talking about the sports psychology and then my season because After I took this job, mind you, another crazy thing, I took the job and I went back and told my mom. My mom said, where are you gonna live? And I was like, I don't care. I'm thinking I'll bounce couch to couch. Like I have family in Lowell, whatever. I don't care. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, maybe you should like rent a little room. So I start researching, boom, boom, boom. Found a little room to rent, which was pretty cool. And I love it. It's very comfortable. And then I said, but I need a car. So I started researching maybe rental cars because it's only for 3 months. And nope, that was too expensive. So I jumped in the car and drove cross country by myself.
Oh my goodness. I didn't
I
know that.
Yep, I stopped in Arizona, Texas, Kentucky, Ohio, New York City, all by myself, and I loved it. And I would suggest anybody should do that because it was on my bucket list to do, not alone, but I did it alone, and it was great reflection time. And on my way to mass, I was saying, "All right, this God just made this opportunity pop up in your life. This has got to be for a reason. He wouldn't put nothing on your plate if it wasn't for a reason." So I said, there's going to be a reason I'm here with this little Catholic team. It's going to have to do with sports psychology or something. Immediately, as I'm working for the team, there's a little girl on the team who has pregame anxiety, bad, like tears
Wow.
before the game. And she's one of the better players on the team. So I'm like, I took her aside and I talked to her, and she said I instantly made her feel better. She had this ring that said breathe, and she said I wear this every game to remind me to breathe. And I said, okay, well, now I'm going to be your reminder to breathe. Look at me before every game. We're going to do breathing exercises, blah, blah, blah. Okay. She ended up having a great season. Her last game, she finished with like 18 points in the final game of the season. And I'll get back to that in a second. But the season was up and down because of the feelings of the girls on the team. Amazingly talented team. This team like could have been a championship team if they worked together every single game. But what was happening is that they were playing the blame game sometimes. Those teenage attitudes were coming out. Well, she's not doing this and this one's not doing that, and they weren't playing as a team. And you'd notice when they had that energy where they came out and acted like, well, this team isn't working together anyway, so I don't care. They would get blown out by 30. Then all of a sudden, I'd talk to them and I'd say, "We need to come out with energy. Come on, let's pull it together." And the games that they came out all high fiving and high energy and kept their heads up, we'd kill teams by 30. So it was the strangest season to me because we had a winning team that just didn't have good attitudes for enough games. Because unfortunately, we didn't have enough games to make the tournament. So I wasn't happy with that season, but it was the perfect season to go into, especially with the sports psychology mind, because it just reiterates the fact that attitudes and energy and how you go into a game mentally literally is going to predict that outcome. And so with that little girl I told you I began working with that had the ring that said breathe,
Yeah.
last game of the season, she gave me a card, and the card said, this long letter thanking me for everything I'd done for over the season, and da 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 da. And then she ended it with, "I want to give you something." I turned the page, the ring was taped in there. She said,
Oh, no
she said,
way.
"I wore this ring every game, reminding me to breathe until I didn't need it anymore because you've made me so comfortable. So now I'm giving it to you."
Wow.
And that just that's when everything came full circle to me. I was like, this is the field I'm supposed to be in. Like I was hired as a coach, and I'd like to say I helped with the team a little, like little decisions here and there, but I think the most impact I brought to the team was talking to the girls about their anxiety, bringing the team together, having good attitudes, having good energy. And I reached out to I want to give a shout out to Graham Betchert. He's worked with the Celtics before. He's a Celtic sports psychologist. He works with Ben Simmons, Jalen Brown. He's worked with the Utah Jazz. And I reached out to him as far as what can I do to take the same path you did? And he gave me so much information and sat on the phone with me, talked to me about the Lowell Catholic team and how I can help them with that energy problem I told you that they had. And I told the girls in the locker room, I talked to the sports psychologist of some of the Celtics, and he told me da 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 da, da, and it's like something in them sparked when I told them that. It was about moving on to the next play and not letting like a bad play get in your head. And they were so excited that I talked to him, and they were like, "Really?" Blah blah blah. So he was been a big help with this whole path, like having me get into a doctoral program. All that he's giving me all this information I need, and it was just kind of crazy to have Lowell Catholic out of all schools to fall in my lap to help me with the choosing of what path I'm going to take with sports psychology, but this season has definitely been a huge reminder that sports psychologists are needed.
Wow, you can't write that stuff. That
Yeah.
that's why I love this podcast because I get to talk to people and hear stories that you just can't. You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
No, and he's awesome. He has books out, he has music out. Graham Betchert, he's like very well known in the NBA, and that's where I hope to be someday, working with those type of professional athletes. So,
Well, kudos to you. How much of COVID do you think has contributed to some of the psychological aspects with these
oh,
athletes?
it's huge. I mean, not only the fact that people are being shut in to their homes, you know what I mean, and having to quarantine and going crazy because they can't go to the park and see their friends or whatever. But even like a person for like me, I get my negative energy out by running up and down the court playing basketball. Fun fact about me, I've never tasted alcohol before in my life. I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs, I don't smoke weed. So my outlet, I don't go to the bar on a Friday night when I've had a long week and get drinks with friends. I go hoop. So imagine a world that I experienced with COVID where no, there's no going to the park playing pickup. I was going cuckoo. And I'm already, I like to think of as a mentally strong person. So imagine the younger kids that have that, imagine the teenagers, the high schoolers that already have so much on their plate and now they're stuck in the house. So I think that definitely drove had a rise in mental health, right? But especially in the next couple years, you're going to see even more of it with in sports because of everything going on. So I definitely think sports psychology is going to be even more needed in the next 5-10 years than it is right now.
Wow. Quick side note: is that a basketball right next to you, or is that?
Oh,
Yeah. What is that? It's a
yes,
Chanel basketball.
the Chanel basketball.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness! Look at that. I thought it was a chair or a purse the whole time, and then
No,
and then I'm looking at it a little more, and I'm like, wait, I could see some of the basketball lines on that.
you know me. I gotta have a girly basketball. It kind of
Yeah.
fits my personality, right?
Right. So the last thing I want to touch up on is the 2016 Hall of Fame, Lowell Catholic. How was that? What is that experience like? You're a Hall of Famer now. You are in the books. How was that experience?
I cannot even explain how honored I am and blessed to have that opportunity to have been, um, inducted in that. As I was sitting there with all these old men, like someone thought I was their caretaker because I was the only one like
Oh my
under,
goodness.
under 60 and I was the only girl. So I wish I had a picture to show you. I have it on my social media, but I was literally the only girl and I was the only one under 60. Like everyone else like white hair, like all old men. And that's when it really hit me like I'm like, wow, like this is impressive because you know what I mean? Like I'm the only girl here and I'm at that moment I was the youngest inductee ever in the Hall of Fame.
And now you're in the like upper echelon of that school because it's in the lobby there. Like
Yeah.
you're, wow.
Mhm.
Look at
Yeah.
you. You're making moves.
Oh yeah, so that was very that was just I just am speechless about that still, like, I'm very honored, and, when I gave my speech, actually, 2 of the guys who taught me how to play basketball at the YMCA from the very beginning were sitting at the table with my family watching me get inducted, and I gave a speech, and that was part of the speech, you know what I mean? I obviously thanked my mom first and foremost for being, um, so open with letting me play basketball and let me go to these men's leagues with these guys, and she helped me, she allowed me to instill basketball in me with the help of all these strangers at the time. And then for those 2 guys that were sitting at the table, I shouted them out like from the very beginning at the YMCA, you guys taught me everything from dribbling, allowing me to play pickup with you, and like look where it's gotten me. So thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity and da da da. And it was definitely a good way I could repay back.
Wow. It's all come full circle. So
For
when are
sure.
you planning on heading back to LA?
So just my time being here, I'm like I'm a East Coast girl all the way. Like I just don't like LA, and for a few years there, I was like, oh, it's probably because of my injury and I wasn't able to get out and have a social life. No, the truth is, I'm fully recovered, and I still don't like it there because I love my clients, don't get me wrong. Those are my babies over there who I work with, and I love the parents who I work with, but money's not everything. And I think you can either get caught up in the fact that LA life is a fast life, brunch, mansion parties, celebrity parties, great money. When you like, I have my dream job over there, but I go home at night and I'm not happy because my support system, my home is Massachusetts. My home is on the East Coast. So, a lot of people choose the money and in the fast life over peace in their soul. And I think for me, I'd rather work at McDonald's if it meant that I had to come home at night and be happy in my soul and watch my cousin's kids grow up and have access to my niece and nephew and you know what I mean, go to my nephew's football games and this and that.
Yeah.
So that's I'm a very family oriented person and that matters to me. So as much as I love LA making money and having that business out there, I know that I want to settle down in Massachusetts. So to answer your question, I'm supposed to go back this week because the season's over. I'm supposed to pack up my car and drive all the way back to LA. But I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go back, but I'm gonna fly back and I'm gonna make some money out there and check on the business I got going on out there and hopefully just spend a couple months hiring more people to the business because I want to get to a point where I can leave LA altogether and come back and settle here in Massachusetts and just have my company being run over there. You know what I mean? Have people doing it for me over there.
Yeah, that's your vision. Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. So, other than that, is there any other projects you want to work that you're working on, or anything, any other movies that you're gonna get crossed up in?
Hopefully, no more getting crossed. But if they ever came out with a she ball too, I'd be more than happy to be a part of that. But really, no. The my main goal right now, the next couple of years, is going to be getting my doctorate. I want to be a doctor of psychology, and God willing, I don't know. Hopefully, it won't be 4 years before I'm on your podcast again. But at some point, it's not going to say Haley McGuire down there. It's going to say Doctor Haley McGuire. So that's the
Yes,
that's the and you better have me back on the show.
I will.
And that's the ultimate goal, which is going to take years, but I want to stick strong to that goal and get it done. And then just putting out books in the meantime. Like I said, that book to young adults on how to go about college. Like, don't just focus on your sport, you know? In that same book, there's going to have other things, relationship advice, kind of advice that you ever have those moments in life where you're like, damn, if I knew then what I know right now, I
Yeah,
would have. Yeah, so the book is going to surround that idea. So there's going to be chapters on relationships, college, careers, credit, because in school, why didn't they tell us and stress the fact that credit is everything, right?
right. I made a TikTok the other day, and I said another day of life where I didn't do y equals mx plus b, but my credit score is, yeah, and I'm like, what
Exactly.
the, yeah.
So that's what I want to surround this book with that idea. And then hopefully, more books to come on different things, but that's going to be the main one and my first priority to get that out there because I want to give back in a way like I want to be the person that I didn't have growing up. And when I say that, I had two great parents, don't get me wrong. But when you're a kid, your parents could tell you, my dad told me till I was blue in the face about credit. You think I listened to him? In one ear, out the other. No, I don't care what you're saying. Now I wish I would have listened.
Yep.
But maybe if I would have had someone a little bit younger that wasn't related to me, that had like no horse in the race. Like they had no reason to even tell me, this is what I did here. You don't want to make this mistake. Maybe I would have listened a little bit better. So I'm thinking that if I can be that person for the next generation coming up, if I can help at least one young girl, my job is done. You know what I mean? So
I think
we'll
you've
see.
done more than that, and I hope that people who hear this are just moved as I am, because this is the first time we've had a conversation in depth. And I will share this. If you're serious about the book writing, my younger brother actually just graduated school on how to do all that stuff and publish your book and how to do. So I'll send you his info, and I'll text it to you after this episode, and you can reach out to him. That's not me, but
Thank you so
he
much.
just got his he just got his degree on all that stuff, and so
Mhm.
he's always looking to help with projects and stuff like that. So it's
That's
definitely something that.
amazing. Wow, thank you so much. See, everything happens for a reason, and I think just you getting to hear the whole story because I know you didn't know I did the movie, you didn't know I was writing books. We haven't get to talk long enough for you to know all that, but this is how it works. You tell your story, and then you bump into someone who can help you along the way, and that's what I'm telling you. I'm a firm believer in God will place the people in your life that you need to be there. So I appreciate all your help. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Haley McGuire, you are an impressive individual. I hope that I have you on soon, and I hope the next time I do, whether it says just Haley McGuire or Dr. Haley McGuire, I will have you on for both times. I also think you need to get a Gucci basketball next time. That's the next thing.
Chanel's my thing. Chanel's my thing. I'm sticking with Chanel.
Chanel's your thing. So, anyways, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a blast. It was just awesome hearing your story, and I really, really am impressed by you. You're an impressive individual, and you're making moves, so you got to be proud of yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to speak on your platform. And anytime you want me back, call me. We'll talk.
Absolutely. And as always on the Reyes Reflection podcast, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. Take care.